Welcome to Podkey Fantasy Football, where training camp noise meets actual draft logic. A lot of fantasy advice sounds sharp until you ask one annoying question: what would actually have to be true for this to work? That's the thread today, from zero RB to injury discounts, to all these minicamp role clues people are trying to trade on in June. Zero RB still makes sense, but only if we describe it honestly. It is a fragile bet with a huge payoff when the room pushes running backs up, your wide receivers smash early, and you hit the right late backs or waiver ads. That profile fits best ball tournaments especially well because first place upside matters more than median safety, and because one injury-driven breakout back can change the whole roster. What's changed is the market. If the room is already inflating running back prices, zero RB gets more attractive on paper, but that doesn't mean every zero RB build is automatically sharp. The weak point is obvious. If you miss on the late round RB chaos and the workhorse tier dries up early, you can spend months trying to patch a structural hole. That's why the hybrid version matters, taking elite pass catchers early, then securing a couple of mid-round backs with plausible volume keeps the ceiling while reducing the chance your team is dead by October. Across multiple drafts, the cleanest answer is diversification. Rotate zero RB, balanced, and RB-heavy builds instead of turning one thesis into a religion. And in large field best ball, the build is only half the edge. Week 17 mini-correlations and selective stacking can matter more than arguing in circles about one pure roster philosophy. For years, the warning label sat on the running back dead zone. Now there's a serious argument that some of that pain has migrated to wide receiver in certain ADP pockets. The logic is pretty straightforward. If targets are getting more concentrated at the top and some offenses are leaning run-heavy or spreading volume less predictably, then the middle WR tier can look deeper than it really is. At running back, one practical line people are drawing is around ADP 28 to 30. After that, role certainty starts falling off fast. That doesn't mean every back after RB28 is bad. It means the burden of proof changes. You're no longer buying stable workload so much as betting on things to break right. That's also why ambiguous backfields in strong offenses remain such important late-round targets. If the offense scores, the backfield can matter even before the depth chart gets cleaned up by injuries. And injuries still are the oldest breakout path in fantasy. The Javonte Williams model is not glamorous, but its real uncertain role in August, league winner by November if the starter goes down. Injury discounts are one of the easiest places to sound smarter than you are, because the market hears one scary label and stops there. The right way to handle them is case by case. What was the injury? What was the procedure? What is the timeline? And is the player expected to return to the same role? Alec Pierce is a good example of a real medical anchor. Left ankle surgery with a 4 to 6 month rehab window is concrete enough that an ADP drop makes sense. RJ Harvey is different. The labrum surgery sounds scary, but if availability is not expected to change much, then a market slide into the mid-80s may be the room overreacting to the word surgery more than the football reality. Jonathan Brooks is the harder test. 2 ACLs is the headline, but the double bundle reconstruction matters because it was designed to improve rotational stability. That does not guarantee a full return, but it gives you an actual reason for optimism beyond blind hope. On the other side, some injuries should keep you conservative. An older tight end with Achilles concerns like George Kittle at 33, or a back with a severe leg history like Cam Skadaboo, is better treated as a late flyer than a core lineup bet. Early summer reports do matter, just not equally. First-team reps in 11 personnel are one of the cleaner signals because they show current coaching trust and likely role hierarchy. Even then, the important word is current. Install phases change, veterans get eased in, and training camp can reorder things quickly. The lower-value inputs are the ones fantasy players love most. Glowing coach quotes, non-contact highlights, and grainy beat reports that get repeated until they sound official. The best safeguard is boring but effective. Look for 3 to 5 independent reports before moving rankings in a meaningful way. That approach also protects against confirmation bias. If you already liked a player, one good clip is not new information. A hidden injury, a clear role change, or repeated first-team usage is new information. A few names stand out once you separate discount from narrative. Breece Hall in the middle rounds looks like one of the better supported values because the receiving role and explosiveness give him multiple paths to paying off. Rachaad White at RB40 is similar in PPR. If the passing down role holds, the floor is stronger than the price suggests, even if the committee caps pure rushing upside. Kenneth Walker getting pushed toward the very top of the position is more debatable. The explosive role case is easy to see, but pass protection still matters because it can decide who stays on the field in obvious passing situations. Ladd McConkey is a good reminder that talent and price are different questions. The target earning ability is real, but his value changes materially if Keenan Allen is present, so the current flyer range reflects dependency more than disbelief. Quentin Johnston climbing on schematic fit optimism is plausible, but this is exactly where people should ask whether they are paying for a role change or just for touchdown hope. Rashee Rice is the opposite kind of uncertainty. The per-game upside is obvious, but a 30-day jail stint plus knee recovery creates multiple ways availability can get squeezed. That risk is concrete, not just vibes. Xavier Worthy also fits the high-variance bucket. The OTA speed clips are fun, but non-contact speed was never the question. Frame, durability, and role translation are the questions. Bonix as a late quarterback target makes more sense than the market sometimes admits. The early schedule may be rough, but usable fantasy scoring plus a better supporting cast can matter more than whether he looks exciting on draft day. At receiver, rookie efficiency stats like yards per route run are not trivia. They are some of the stronger reality checks we have. A sub 1.3 rookie YPRR history is a bad bucket, and the list of later breakouts from there is very short. At running back, the market can be too scared of rookies. Early draft capital has historically translated into immediate usability more often than fantasy players remember, so a player like Jeremiah Love deserves more than a generic wait-and-see label. Committee backfields are where details matter most. Goal line splits, pass protection, receiving work, and even contract structure can all cap ceilings or stabilize floors. That's why pass-catching specialists can outscore flashier teammates in PPR. If Rachaad White, or eventually Jonathan Brooks, owns the third down role, that usage can survive even when the rushing workload does not. At tight end, stable snap share and target volume still beat vague athletic upside. If a player is likely to lead the position room in targets, like the Greg Dulcich projection suggests, that matters more than chasing the TE15 through TE22 blob. Quarterback is more format sensitive now because prices have moved. In many drafts, waiting forever at QB is no longer automatically sharp if the room keeps pushing the usable tier up. And in Superflex, the choice between steady and explosive options really is a roster construction decision. Jordan Love versus Kyler Murray is less about who is better in a vacuum and more about whether your lineup needs insulation or spike weeks. Two league settings deserve more attention. League median scoring smooths out the dumbest weekly variance and usually keeps more teams engaged longer. And slow drafts are underrated for normal leagues with normal schedules. They reduce auto-draft disasters and usually produce better decisions than forcing everyone into a 2-hour sprint. Those edges are not as flashy as a sleeper pick, but they often improve the actual fantasy experience more than one extra rankings tweak. The useful habit this time of year is simple. Separate what we know, what we infer, and what we're just hoping is true. That's where good draft value usually starts. Thanks for listening to Podkey Fantasy Football. This episode was generated by Podkey. Create your own at podkey.fm.